What's going on, YouTube? This is Jim Afanis, and today I want to talk to you guys about the open beta for Rainbow Six Siege. You have to pardon my stardust as our universe is expanding. A lot of redecorations going on around here, getting ready for some upgrades, as they say. Anyways, what I want to talk to you guys about today, obviously, Rainbow Six Siege. Now, this is an open beta, and that means everybody can play it. I was fortunate enough to play it a couple of months ago. I couldn't really talk about it much then because I had to sign an NDA. However, now that the NDA is lifted with the game coming out, everybody knows what I know and I can talk about it freely, and here we are. Not much has changed between the NDA and now. They've added a couple new character classes. They've added some slightly leveled variations in terms of weapon powering and that sort of thing. But it is still largely a Rainbow Six game, which is incredibly awesome and incredibly frustrating at the exact same time. So I am playing it on the PC, although I did play it on my PlayStation 4. The experiences are largely identical, with one minor exception. The PlayStation and I assume Xbox One version is significantly easier to party with than the PC version. The PC version is laden with a lot of really bad, what I call ground level bugs. By that, I don't mean anything with gameplay, but I mean changing your settings, changing your party settings, changing your graphic settings. They're all not quite there yet. On the PC version, I can tell you that the volume in the game, with the way you slide your microphone, is directly tied to your system volume in your computer. So when I started talking to my friend Kevin on TeamSpeak, but I didn't want the rest of my team to hear, yes, I didn't have push to talk enabled, but just to be sure, I slid the volume bar all the way to 0 in the Rainbow Six client. And lo and behold, it actually directly toggled to my Windows X or 10, I guess they call it, Windows 10 microphone settings. So that's a weird little bug. I don't know. I can't ever remember a game in which in-game volume affected master system volume. That just didn't make sense to me. In addition, when you send a party invite, first of all, it's a chore to make sure your NAT is open and not closed. And there are tutorials online, and even the Rainbow Six does have a pretty good frequently asked questions helping you do that. But once you get all that done, you invite somebody to a party, there's no easy way to break out of the party. And by that I mean it's always like a you quit the party regardless if you quit the game or not. So in between each level, you get money, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which gives you upgrades. And it works out very well when you want to go back into the menu to upgrade. Except it kicks you out of your party, so you have to re-invite the person. If one person leaves but one person stays, well, too bad, buddy. I'm playing the next round without you. The lobby system needs a lot of work in that capacity, and that's something that frustrates me. So, my opinion so far, the PC version needs a lot more TLC than the console versions. Now, let's get into some of the gameplay mechanics. First of all, the game handles extremely well. Everything you guys saw during the E3 demo, the reveal like 2 years ago, is very true, in fact, how the game currently plays today. A lot of the environments are destructible. There's a ton of weapons that can be altered in different ways, and it really does. Each map is very different. It's always like an attack or defend type position, whether you're defending against somebody trying to blow up some bombs or take over like this radiation chemical, like this jar of chemicals or whatever. It's always going to be an attack and defend dynamic. The attackers always have a little bit of time to go scout the area with these little remote control cars before the match begins. If you can keep the car alive, you can actually use it in gameplay, which is kind of neat. The defenders have time to put up barricades, razor wires, turrets, whatever their specific class is, to help defend. Gameplay is balanced in that capacity. Each team gets a little bit of time to set things up. If you're really good as a terrorist or, as the defender, because there are times when actually the Rainbow Six team will defend against like the nuclear waste of the nuclear agent. It's like a jar of chemicals. You can actually shoot the opposing team's recon vehicles and completely blind them if you're really good about it. If not, usually they sneak in a car or two because they're hard to hit. And they'll park them under things like desks or pool tables or beds, and use them later on, and you'll be spotted that way. So there's always that sense of reconnaissance, and you always have to be very mindful of that. Gameplay is very slow and very campy, so if you're one of those guys who likes to do the whole run and gun thing, this game's probably not for you. Because when you have that much camping going on, the gameplays kind of tend to draw out, especially in a 5 versus 5 mode. So you'll be sitting there for a couple minutes waiting for something to happen, and if you're defending, you're not going to leave your point. You're going to sit there and wait. So it's kind of on the attacker to make the game a little more fast-paced, and sometimes they choose to do that, and sometimes they want to take their sweet time, and you just might sit there for 5 minutes in a round and do absolutely nothing. That's happened to me quite a few times. Unfortunately, as a defender, it will not let you leave the confines of the house or the building that you're in, so you can't go out and be aggressive and try to counterflank them. You have to be within the confines of the building. And I think if they remove that, maybe the gameplay would speed up a little bit, because there were times that I'm like, I think I know where they're at, but going down this stairwell is surely doomed. But if I could sneak out, come around the backside of them, I might be able to pick 1 or 2 of them off and break this game loose a little bit. It won't let you do that. So that's kind of a downer. In addition to just some of the core gameplay, the whole aspect of teamwork is extremely important, because your guys are very squishy. And this is the only part of the game that frustrates me slightly, because big heavy weapons like shotguns don't necessarily have the oomph that I would expect them to have, as opposed to a more rapid fire like a machine gun or an ump or something like that. Because of that, I think some of the guns are definitely underpowered compared to others. They don't even blow holes in barricades faster, or walls or drywall or anything like that any faster. It's still the same whether you melee or shoot. So I think there's some balancing that needs to take place in there, and it's frustrating to me that we're this close to release and those little tweaks haven't yet been made. Because like I said, when I played this game 4 or 5 months ago, I noticed this then, and I was concerned about it, and unfortunately it has not been fixed. Other than that, if you've played any other Rainbow Six game, you know what kind of gameplay you're getting into. There's a slew of gadgets for you to use that help you out in terms of your reconnaissance, and there's different classes. There's class specific gadgets. You have to pay to unlock a class. So for example, I was using this guy called the Pulse, and he has a heart rate sensor. So he has this like little computer screen that he carries around and looks in front of him like a little cell phone type thing, and it scans the room constantly, and within like 10 or 15 meters, which isn't a significant amount, but enough to like through walls and stuff, it'll let you pick up enemies' heartbeats so you can figure out where they're at. So if you're very stealthy and you crawl around a lot and just sit there and wait in the corner, you can actually start marking targets for your teammates. And let me tell you, getting the drop on this game is worth gold. If you can know an enemy's on the other side of the wall, you could breach through the wall and hope to kill him that way, or at least send some shots through or try to flank him from another side. So that kind of insight is invaluable. Unfortunately, with those classes, they're also confined in the weapons that they get. So for example, with the Pulse, I can only have a shotgun and a machine gun, a little submachine gun. I don't have access to a lot of the other guns that I may have with other classes or the generic recruit class, which is kind of weird. In addition, leveling up guns is a per character thing. So for example, on the Pulse, I can use my shotgun, the M1014, and I decided to put a red dot scope on it instead of just the old flat bore iron sight. And it was great. It was worth some money. I had to pay some, in-game currency to get the item. And then I got it. But it only unlocked it for that class. The next time I got a new character, and he had a shotgun, I was not able to bring that scope over. So I, in effect, had to buy it twice, which is really, really stupid. I think they need to do something more along the lines of what Battlefield 4 has done, or even Battlefield 3, and have a pool of weapons in which once you upgrade this weapon once, it's freely used among any type of your classes. In addition, when you start off the game, if you run through the tutorials, they'll give you enough money to buy one class. Well, that class is only for attacker or only for defender. So in my case, the Pulse cannot be used offensively. So in a defense map, this is great. I have my special class with my special class specific ability, and I can use it to scan the walls and try to be an effective team player that way. But when I'm on the offense, I don't have that. I have to go buy a different class. And it's kind of dumb that, again, I don't know why they went behind all these like almost paywalls with each individual class. Why not just open it up? Why not give me the ability to buy the heart rate scanner, period? And then whatever class I'm playing, whatever situation I'm in, it's up to me to determine if that is the best tool for the job. That is how you're going to get a better game, rather than me having to buy every single class in the game and be limited, and I can't use a sniper rifle with the heart rate scanner, and I have to use this gun versus that gun, and I don't get breach grenades, I get these types of things, and you start limiting yourself and it takes away from what the player can do. Let the player do whatever the hell they want. Now, unfortunately for this game, I think that's too far gone to try to implement those changes because there is such an emphasis on getting the special currency, which is used to buy special characters, and that's how you unlock things, rather than just have a slew of like, here's 1,000 widgets, and you pick which ones you want, and you select your custom loadout, and you go. And if that was a good loadout for you to be an offense, great job, and if you screwed up, well, that's on you too. And I think that would make the game more fun. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that, and that is why it really frustrates me. Now, some of the polish on the PC side alone, I'm sure they will patch. Luckily, the gameplay, the graphics, the sound, the experience definitely feels true to Rainbow Six, and for that, I'm happy. But I think it's plagued by a lot of compartmentalization, and that's what worries me, and I don't see that changing. And for that reason alone, I'm going to recommend do not pick up this game, at least at full price. Go home, go online in the next couple days. Go try out the open player, the open beta, and I think you'll see what I mean. It's fun, but keep in mind when you want to get other stuff that's outside these really detailed swim lanes, you just can't do it. And it does tarnish some of the uniqueness of customizing your perfect FBI special agent or your SAS or whatever faction you want to represent. I think a lot of that is taken away, and unfortunately, that's why I said I recommend holding off on this one until they fix it. And it's unfortunate, like I said, because these were problems that I noticed a long time ago, and they unfortunately did not get addressed. So that is my thoughts and comments on Rainbow Six Siege. Guys, check it out online. It is free to play for everyone up through Sunday on all platforms. As far as I know, it's only next generation. So PS3 and Xbox 360 users, your SOL. And I believe the game launches this Tuesday. So this is to as close as the final product as you are going to get. There may be some minor networking things. Obviously, there's some party system on the PC version that needs to be fixed and some weird kind of option leaks that I'm sure will sort themselves out, but largely the gameplay experience in of itself is exactly what you're going to get. I'll leave you with one last thing briefly before I go. I took a picture of this on my cell phone. I thought it was really funny and I had to share. I was waiting for my friend Kevin to get his computer up and running, and he was having some issues with the closed NAT, open NAT thing. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to get it to work. So one of the modes on the game is called Terror Hunt, and it's a single player or multiplayer. I like to play the lone wolf style, where you have to go through and eliminate enemies. Now, the enemies have a little bit of time to kind of set up shop before you begin, just like they do in all the other games. Well, the enemies are a little bugged. So I hope this comes in clearly enough. Let me try to focus my camera. There you go. Do you see all that razor wire on the ground? It goes all the way through this kitchen into the next room around the corner. That's probably 30 to 40 actual drops of razor wire. That's right, the computer barricaded themselves into the room and completely razor wired one entire room. I've seen rooms where there's like 9 or 10 different nitro bombs, which are detonated off a cell phone, in one room as well, and I shot one and they all just went pop, 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 and I got like 60 points for blowing up all this enemy equipment. So for those of you thinking, oh, well, I'll just jump into the single-player experience, beware, you're going to encounter some really odd bugs. Anyways, that's all the time I have for today. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think about Rainbow Six Siege. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.